Okay. So we are going to get started. Like I said, these are virtual learning circles. People can sign up, but sometimes not able to make it. And so we record these videos for future reference to give people a chance to go back in case they got, yeah, get busy. Life happens. We're going to do introductions in a second. Um, the topic for our virtual learning circle today is exploring our program map, which should hopefully be a really fun conversation today around some collaborative pieces and moving things forward in a really good way. But I won't do too many spoilers because yeah, we've got lots of folks here that can chime in on that discussion. So kind of before we start, we try and set some community norms, and they're pretty standard. Just being good human beings, so speaking from your own experience, listening with curiosity and respect, especially given that some people will be coming from all different regions across the country. Share the space, and a person that I work with always, because I'm a big talker, always says, if you're a big talker, sit back and listen, and if you're a listener, try and speak up and challenge yourself to try something different. But then also build on one another's ideas is the another one that we really try to emphasize because those are that's the essence of a collaborative space. But yeah, so all in all, respect, shared space, and really building on each other's ideas and collaborating. But we do want to introduce ourselves. And the way I thought we could do this is just name where you're joining from and take as much time as you need to share about where you're coming from. That can be a one sentence or a longer story for some folks, so feel free to take the space you need and share briefly about your work with youth. Kind of what brought you into the call today, or what has connected you with the YOLO community. So I can kick things off to break the ice. So my name is Shay Henderson, and I've been with YOLO in different capacities for this will be like my third and a half-ish year. Zara would be the authority on that. And I am currently living, I call Churchill, Manitoba on Treaty 5 territory home, but I'm currently on Treaty 1 territory in Winnipeg. And I went from -3 degrees to +25 today, and my body has not acclimatized, so I'm a little sweaty today. And just a bit about my work. The last 5 years, I've been heavily involved in land-based work across the province in Manitoba and now through YOLO in different capacities. But here, I support the YOLO community with coordination, hoping to grow the network, really make it something valuable for folks that are doing this work in their local communities. So I will pass and we'll kind of pass it to the next person. So maybe I could pass it to Perline. If you want to take off our next introduction, if you're able to, Pearlie.
Fancy. I have to unplug my smart board because I was doing okay. It's not going to restart my cam, but I'm from Little Pine here in the valley, and I'm in my class with my kids right now. We're having an early dismissal today, so we're rushing as much as we can to get our work done. But hello, everybody.
Thanks, Perline. Maybe we'll go to, I know Jerry put a comment that they had to step away for a second. So maybe Sanlane Gid, pass it to you. You're next on my screen.
Sounds good. Sangait La, Sanlanegid, Hinidukyung. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sanlanegid, and I'm calling in from the unceded traditional territory of the Haida Nation here in Gautlagay, Old Masset. And I am with YOLO and doing a couple other fun projects in and around Haida Gwaii and throughout BC. And yeah, I am helping with getting new folks on the program map and also reconnecting with folks that are already on the map. So it's exciting to be able to talk about it a little bit today and see where we can, yeah, move forward from here. And it's really sunny and hot, which is rare or Haida Gwaii. So I'm like basking in it right now. Okay. Oh,
Why don't we go to Teresa next, if you're able to unmute Teresa.
Hi, good morning. My name is Teresa Wolf. I'm a post-secondary counselor with Onion Lake, Saskatchewan. I do that as well as I sit on the graduation committee at our high school. And we were looking into different sort of grad trips, and I came across your group on Facebook, and I thought I would join to see what it's all about. We do on the land learning here in Onion Lake a couple of times a year, and I think it's important that we start connecting our communities across this country, and sharing our knowledge and making sure our kids can connect with people right from coast to coast to coast. Thank you.
Appreciate that, Teresa. Thank you. Zara.
Hi, everybody. My name is Zara. I live on Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh Territory, Vancouver, British Columbia. I have been part of YOLO also since the beginning, was kind of coordinating it before Shay. I worked for a conservation organization called Nature United, that's been supporting youth on the land programming, mostly in BC, Manitoba, and the Northwest Territories for 10 to 15 years. Yeah, I'm also a teacher and a counselor, and I like being on the land myself. Thanks.
All right, and Jerry, for if you're back with us, if you wanted to do a quick introduction, or I can read what you put in the chat if you're not back with us. Okay. If Jerry comes back, we'll give them a chance. But just Jerry wrote in the chat that they're from the Northwest Territories, working in family day homes. So working with youngers, it sounds like, in a lot of ways. We'll give Jerry that chance to share more about their work, if they care to. So again, folks might hop in kind of throughout the call. If they do, we'll try and give them a space to kind of share about who they are. Zara, if you can drop that in the chat, just to give people a prompt. So kind of an overview, because this will be familiar for some, but not necessarily for all. So like I appreciate you sharing that you just stumbled across the YOLO community, Teresa, because that gives us a good reference point of starting at the entry point. So some quick facts about this group. It's a network currently of about approximately 400 programs and practitioners across Canada. In some cases, like we've had someone log in from Japan. So we're international. The audience, the folks that we're working with, go across multiple sectors. That a lot of the times includes education, but also includes health and wellness and nation-to-nation governance and stewardship and so on and so forth. The mission of this group is really about supporting those practitioners and programs who are doing the heavy lifting in their respective communities to bring land-based learning to youth, really creating that next generation of leaders and stewards who are going to take care of this land, the water, the world around us, and feel really confident in their skills to advocate for that. Within that, and if it wasn't clear, just to emphasize is that there's a priority related to land-based learning being informed by Indigenous knowledge systems on our part as a network, and guided by our advisory, our Perline is actually a current member of our advisory, made up of a number of diverse cultural and regional perspectives, keeping us accountable to the needs of this community, and all that very broad scope. A few connection points, and this just for reminders, where we try to kind of build those bridges between members in our network is through our website, youthontheland.ca, our virtual learning circles like this, where it's usually a specific topic or opportunity, our fireside chats, which are more informal conversations about really important discussion topics, and that's really more like a shared space of like more chaotic discussion, I guess. And then our newsletter, which I think a lot of you may be subscribed to, but if you're not, you can subscribe to that through the website. And then the last one, which is the emphasis or the focus of today, is our program map. And our program map is a growing space for, in some ways, a deeper level of membership. This is our goals here for this space or for this membership is about creating kind of a more intricate and supportive community of practice for those looking for shared spaces, kind of like what you were suggesting, Teresa, opportunities to share knowledge with each other and collaborate and there's a hunger for that that we've seen in our network. So why the program map exists, and I'm gonna in a second gonna flip to the map itself so you can see a live version of it. But why it has existed up to until this point in time was for programs and practitioners to really strengthen the visibility about the work they're doing in their local communities, build those relationships, peer to peer, youth to youth, however it may be, but build connections between other programs and support that learning experience. Again, could be practitioner to practitioner, youth to youth. A big part of it that I think goes underestimated in terms of its value is highlighting the youth impacting practices. Sometimes those stories of practice are so inspirational and motivational for folks. And really on a broader scope, really strengthening that broader land-based learning ecosystem, creating a community that's moving things forward in this work. Anything else? I'll give Sanhane, Gid, and Zara a chance if they wanted to add anything to this, but just because they're helping and focusing on the building this space as well. But anything else before I pop up the live version?
I guess like maybe just like one cool thing I think about the program map is that people are starting to find each other and be like, oh, like I'm kind of interested in doing an exchange with like somebody in this province or territory or like somebody working on this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of interested, like we haven't talked that much about this yet, but I'm kind of interested in like, is there a way like maybe we expand the program map or have another layer of it at some point to have like individuals on it? Like there's so many like alum of like youth on the land programming that are like now in like leadership roles and interested in connecting with each other. And then there's people that like used to work for a program and are still like in the land-based programming space, but maybe like not employed by that program anymore, like that are hungry to connect. So I think there's like lots of room for growth with the program map. And like if you guys have ideas, we'd be happy to hear them too of what would be useful to you.
Beautiful. Can you see the program map now on the screen?
Yeah.
Perfect. Anything else you wanted to share there, Sanhane? Good.
Yeah, I just also like jobs. I think when Zara was talking about individuals, I think also too like people are interested in exploring and going to different communities and learning from elders and trekking around. And I think also the opportunities for training. I think training and jobs and I mean, when I was a spring chicken in my 20s, like I would love the opportunity to go to a different community and work and learn. And so like finding out about what programs exist that align with people's values and what they want to learn and what they want to do and be able to network and kind of like tap in, which is really, really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So kind of if you go to our website, youthandtheland.ca, you can see a link that'll take you to this screen. And this is our program map, and it's a growing space, it's a living space. So what I guess the best way to sum this up is the red dots that you see on this map are programs and practitioners who have opened up their doors to share about their trials and tribulations, their program specifics, their best practices. You'll notice that on the map there is a heavy density of folks on the BC coast, and that's because the early days of YOLO did start on the BC coast, and as the network has been growing and expanding, we've been trying to bring in folks from different regions, from different perspectives. And I realized just now, Perline, I think we haven't got to the point of putting your program up there because you did submit to be on the program map. So we're missing one. We're going to have a red dot in Saskatchewan very soon. Our goals really, like I said, are to increase that representation further across different territories for a number of reasons. One, to broaden that scope, broaden that community of practice, but also to ensure that like the perspectives and the ideas and the experiences that are guiding the YOLO community are being informed by, not just one region in the country, but many. And I think that we all stand to benefit from having those broad perspectives kind of inform our work. And furthermore to that goal is also to build up this group as kind of another level of membership within the network, based on kind of the direction this smaller group would intend to be supported by. And so really what we're hoping to slowly grow here is a grassroots community of practice that is informed by the folks who are in that micro network within the YOLO community. Welcome, Pip. I just saw you join there as well. I said we'd give everyone a chance to introduce themselves, and I see Jerry's back now, so I'm going to pause and just give Jerry and then Pip a chance to introduce themselves, where they're coming from, and a little bit about their work. Go ahead, Jerry, first.
Hi everyone, my name is Jerry. I grew up in Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, but now live in Fort Simpson, Northwest Territories. I started a family day home about 4 years ago after I had my first son. I have 4 children, two before I met my partner, two after. So my first born son here in our community are childcare and our education, especially our elementary school, has its struggles and serious issues. So it just started as a conversation, and 4 years later, I'm still operating, and this business really means a lot to me and our community. Here I've had my 2 kids. I'm just working on developing myself. My background is a heavy equipment operator, so now I'm taking courses to develop myself as a childcare worker and early learning educator. Yeah, and yeah, I'm just here to meet with you all and do some networking. And I really like the idea of the program network because we don't have a lot of resources up here in the north. You think we would just because of our way of life, but yeah, I'm just happy to be here with you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Jerry. Go ahead, Pip.
All right, so I'm Pip and Moose. I'm the dot there, so Northern Manitoba. I think we have a dot there. Yes, so I'm the land-based coordinator for NNCEA. Been doing it for a year and a half. I was a land-based teacher for a year, and we're at our camp now, so it's starting to grow. So we kind of need the coordinator. Been hooking up with Shay and YOLO for the last couple of years. It's been great to be part of the community. Again, making those connections and bringing other schools to our camp and also going to their camp. So going out to Burge in a few weeks. And yeah, it's quite the community to be in, this YOLO community. And just seeing what other people are doing across the country and just taking those ideas and using them here at the camp.
Awesome. Thanks, Pip. Luca, I just noticed you joined. We're just doing kind of mid-presentation introductions for those who joined a bit late. If you wanted to share about who you are, where you're coming from, and a little bit about your work. Maybe. Or you can put it in the chat. So I will come back to the map here. And thanks, Pip, for noting that you were on the map, because that's a really good segue into demonstrating how it's used. It's a pretty standard Google map, but as you click on those red dots, you're able to learn a bit more about those programs, link up to their website or resources that they've built as an individual program or practitioner. And one of the most valuable pieces is actually connecting up directly to the folks that are leading that work in those respective communities. And I'll say, like, YOLO was the first place that I had met Pip, even though we probably cross each other on the roads of Northern Manitoba on a regular basis. And so this is a great opportunity, or this is a great space to build those connections, and sometimes those connections that are right on your back door. And So as this map grows, the intent is again to have programs that are swinging a two-way swinging door. Folks who are on here that want to learn about what others are doing, like Pip suggested, but all those also those who are maybe just emerging into the land-based world that are looking to learn about folks who have built something sustainable and strong, like Pip has done and is continuing to do in his community, and kind of learn from the trials and errors, because there's probably a little bit of both that he's gone through to build up such a strong program. So what I wanted to do, and a big part of the goal of today was to really hear from the group that was able to join. And we'll be doing some other reach out to the YOLO community to further this discussion, is really talking about how the program map membership space and the YOLO community as a whole, but specifically the program map, how it can best serve the group or the folks who are joining it in the most useful ways possible. And usually a good way to start that conversation is identifying some of the things that brought people into the network in the first place. And that's sometimes feeling siloed and isolated, coming against obstacles. Like I know I worked primarily in the public school division or public school sector, which is rife with red tape and liability obstacles. So we're a small enough group today that instead of doing breakout rooms, I think that we can keep it all as one group. And I wanted to start off with talking about some of those obstacles and challenges that you may or may not encounter in your day-to-day work with youth on the land. So what are some of those obstacles and challenges? And when or how do you feel alone or disconnected or isolated in this work? And you don't have to speak, and you can use the chat as well if you'd like to use a different form of communicating. But I'll just open up to that kind of first general question about obstacles and kind of those times of isolation and disconnection.
I always have something to say when I always wait, but I'm like the person that talks a lot, like that sits back. But I can start. Um, so good morning, everyone. I'm calling in from Haida Gwaii. My name is Sanla Negid. So I think some of the obstacles and challenges that I've encountered is, um, I mean, I feel like being able to connect with other communities helps me to not feel so isolated. And so, but it's like in the work sometimes, understanding what best practices are, like and like being in line with, what kind of training we need to get folks out on the land, and what are the basics for certifications or for things like that, where it just like sometimes you just feel like you're kind of going crazy trying to convince your community that you need to bring in certain training. And so sometimes that's a little bit isolating. And then yeah, as a coordinator, I guess, of land-based programming, just in from a small community, just being from a small community doing the work. And sometimes I am out there on the land by myself, like setting things up and doing things because I did a call out for volunteers or whatever, and it's hard to kind of wrangle people off their screens. And so that's been a bit challenging, where I feel like the numbers have kind of dwindled a little bit. Um, but things are kind of coming back around. I feel like more people are really interested in wanting to get out there. So yeah, that's a couple of the things that I found that were a little bit disconnecting, and some challenges. Yeah.
Thanks, Samane. Good. I hear you about that isolation too. And I guess I wonder how others feel like when you're in those like those silos of whether it's like community or region or whatnot, like what are you typically craving? What are you looking for when you're trying to break out of that silo? I know Pip, you kind of talked a little bit about like just seeing how other people are running their programs, but like what are like say in a hypothetical real world, you break down that silo, you break down that wall, and you can sit one to one with Sana and Gid for a full week. Like what are those things that you would be craving to learn from somebody who has been doing this work up in Haida Gwaii, and how it like let's use the context, like what would be relevant. Like that's what I'm always trying to think is like what are the overlaps or the relevancy of me, Shay, Northern Manitoba connecting with Salmonay Gid in Haida Gwaii, and how would that inform my practice here? So I'm curious of like what gets people excited to break out of that silo? What learning gets people excited? You're unmuted, Pip. I don't know if you're talking
Yeah,
or
no,
if
no,
you're
I
just
was just saying,
okay.
I'll go ahead and
Are you
say,
just
so we started our camp and it wasn't really fully operational. Admin was good with kind of like whatever you do is fine. And then, so again, I just kind of started by myself and I just kind of reverted back to what I did when I was younger as a child. So I had a group of 12 kids. We just started making trails, started walking trails, getting to know the trees, but it was very small. Sometimes it was frustrating because I was trying to set up, didn't have time to set up. But the kids enjoyed that. Just it was more of a personal experience of going out on the land and just telling them about my experience, and they enjoyed that. And it started to develop from there. So just we kind of advertised this on our Facebook. The community liked what we were doing, and then we just started getting more people involved that way. Another one that just happened this year, it was kind of funny. We have I think I listed the organizations and wellness. They do their own thing, but we finally went out to Leftrick, which is a not 2 hour skidoo ride. So I let our country foods guys know. They said, "Oh yeah, don't worry, we'll be out there." And we just took a small group. We had one kid per machine just because we didn't want to put them on the sleighs. We didn't want to have a big group. So we took them out there, and they were actually net fishing or net or gill fishing there, and wellness was out there. So wellness was excited to have some kids. They showed them the net fishing because we were just ice fishing, like with rods. And then a week later, they had a big write up about how they do this stuff for the community. So with that, I know they weren't doing a lot, but because the write up happened, now they started the pushing, so are pushing to start joining us. How can we help? So again, it came from a lot of advertising, just having our little Facebook group up for the school and seeing what we're doing. So a lot of the other organizations that do similar things, maybe on the weekend or evenings, they started to join, and that was one way we just kind of started rolling. Any questions?
well, I guess I do have a question, but I think I mean it might be one of those like to bring out more discussion. Like I know we have collaborated as much as we possibly can over the last couple of years, Pip. And I think about the impact on students of even though like the students that we're bringing together are a few hundred kilometers down the road from each other.
Mhm.
I have continued to hear stories about the impact that coming to one of your gatherings had on their experience, but I also have heard directly from the staff members that went along with those kids. How can we do something like what they're doing? How do we bring this into this space, which is a different space? Like you're in a like your independent education program, whereas like the kids that are some of the programs and schools that went to your neck of the woods were part of a public system, which is rife
Yeah.
with very many differences, right? Um, but I guess that would be a like what I guess what I'm getting at is like how do you share your learning with like it's with other adults that are leading this work when they come into your neck of the woods? Like what are you doing to inspire, or are you just being your authentic self and you're just like you're getting people excited just from your day-to-day operations?
Yeah, usually like if we had like Puck at Awagan, I'm not sure. Are they part of Frontier or not? Is Puck?
No, Puck is not.
Oh, okay, well they came in for Cree language and they wanted to see the camp. So I sat down with I think it's Ralph Caribou and we had a good talk. So I just showed him the schedule. We kind of created a seasonal schedule with some of the activities we do, nothing like really in depth. We talked about that and then we talked about how we're trying to bring the language in there. Like I'm not a fluent Cree speaker now, so I'd like to bring that in because that's part of our land base is learning language off the land. So yeah, just having those conversations, showing them what we do here. that just opened up stuff. Like he asked me to go to the Cree gathering. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll come. And then I seen the itinerary, and then he wanted me to speak on being a Cree person that doesn't speak Cree. So I'm just like, oh, he gave me some time, I'll do it, but I didn't want to do it. So that worked out well, and just making those connections. So I'm always anything we create, I show. Like if anybody comes by, they like to see the schedule. Obviously, they love touring the camp, but just giving them ideas. Like the biggest thing we have here, like our camp is it's phenomenal. Still needs some extra like groundwork, but it's phenomenal. But a lot of our hits are from smaller things just outside the camp. Like we put up a canvas tent just across the lake here, and the kids just love going to that. Like that doesn't have any electricity, using a wood stove, but it's small. So the kids get more from that than I would want to say. I think like you get a lot from the camp, but they enjoy that experience more than just coming to a classroom here and then going to land. Like if there's a spot that's just kind of dedicated, there's no electricity, there's no Wi-Fi, they enjoy that. So I was just kind of preaching to other communities, just like if you have a nice small spot that's, again, it's all time, like time's an issue. So our camp is 15 minutes away from the school and the community. It's kind of in a perfect spot where you're away from the community, but you're not too far if something happens, right? And if we can get those smaller spaces where it's a canvas tent, we're going to a cabin building course. So we're going to start building little cabins around, and just so they can get more of that experience. And yeah, and whoever comes by, I share that, and I think they've been taking it home and then trying it on their own. But definitely when they come here, they're like, wow. And I'm like, yeah, this is wow. But a lot of the really memorable experiences for the students are out in the bush and not here. But it's nice they have a safe place.
Awesome. Thanks, Pip. We had a few other people join us. I'm just going to give Rain a chance to introduce yourself if you'd like to. And then we'll get back into this discussion. But Rain, did you want to introduce yourself really quick?
Sure, thank you. Sorry to interrupt everybody. Yeah, as with many people, I'm sure lots of things going on. But I wanted to be here. I work for 29 nations along the coast, some of which have youth on land programming, some of which don't. And I'm quite engaged with Zara on some conversations just around how we can better mobilize folks and funders around bringing more dollars into these types of programs. So lots of this is really relevant to those conversations, and I am just very grateful for you allowing me in this space to sort of absorb as I can to support some of those chats. Happy to answer any questions if people have them, but thanks again.
Beautiful. Thank you. And Luca did share an introduction in the chat. His microphone seems to be messing up there a little bit. So I'll just, if people want to take a chance to read that about where he's coming from over in the eastern side of the of Canadian territory there. Let's dive back into these obstacle conversations, because I think this, so I've heard, Raina, maybe that's a really good segue you just brought up about like some of the funding pieces, and how that kind of comes up in people's work. And I can kick that off. It just, I know it's an awkward spot sometimes to kick off a conversation, but when I think about funding, I think about two big things that come to mind. First of all, is that the work that's being done on the land sometimes does not jive very well with the systems that are handing out money. And I think about some of those big government grants that are looking for some very interesting data points and are looking for checkbox markers that sometimes are like a struggle to align that with some of the intangible impacts that we know are happening at youth on land programming. Sometimes it's anecdotal, sometimes it's story based. And so I run into those obstacles all the time about justifying the value of that work, working with youth on the land in a way that aligns with the current structures that we still have in place. So that's one. The other one is just, I feel like it's the constant grind that youth on the land programs have to do to justify why dollars are needed. I'm probably preaching to the choir that there's a lot of resources required to get things off the ground in a land-based learning environment. but we also know the value of that work. But that doesn't change the fact that it's, you can't, I mean, I'm sure everyone on this call has chased grants and funds on an annual basis to try and keep their programs alive. And so that is also a big obstacle. And I'll say that kind of tying it to YOLO, like one of the big things that has helped me through connecting with this network is just hearing how people have overcome some of those challenges around funding, having access to like a shared space where like all those grants are curated, and I can and can explore those in a really efficient way. But yeah, like those are two areas where I've seen like some big obstacles and challenges, but also kind of plays into part of like feeling alone. Like I constantly feel like I'm fighting the good fight of trying to get dollars, but I'm also competing with other people who are competing with the same dollars for the same valuable impact in their respective regions. So it's like we're all trying to squeeze water from a stone. And yeah, like anyways, I'll stop there. There's probably lots I could ramble on about the issues of funding land-based programming, but does anyone else have any insight into that as an obstacle?
Can I contribute?
Of course.
So I'm in the Treaty 6 territory in Saskatchewan. We are part of the Battlefords Tribal Council, and there's a lot of First Nations in our territory. We have 10 First Nations in our area, and we're all very strong land-based schools. Everybody does their thing, except we're not on the map. So that's one of the things that I'm hoping that we're going to engage more schools to get on the YOLO map. What I wanted to speak about, one of the challenges for our school is that we don't have the infrastructure on site at our school. We don't even have a fireplace. I built a fireplace using stones and rocks. But that's one of the things that we'd like to see is a little bit more of an infrastructure for our community. Now, fortunately for us, our previous administration, leadership in the community had applied for the Four Pillars agreement, the settlement agreement, where one of the communities that is receiving money. It was a $2.8 billion trust set up for First Nations community to revive languages, culture, heritage, etc. So we have a meeting this week in our community, and I'm definitely going to go there and advocate for some kind of an infrastructure for our school. We definitely need something in place. I mean, we're out there cutting meat and we don't even have running water where we're working. We have to haul everything back into wash, etc. So that's one thing. And then again, for those people who haven't met me, I did go to the Yellow Gathering in Yellowknife with everybody and got to meet everyone there. But I also want to also plug eco schools. If your schools aren't signed up with eco schools, I would definitely recommend you look into that. It's free and they provide a library of different kinds of sustainable activities you can do for your school or your community, and then earn certain points, and the more points you get, the higher level certification you get. We've gone as high as getting our platinum certification, but this year we said we're going to aim for the bronze level, which we acquired. And it was good that we reduced our expectations this year because the weather was really bad for us this year. We just had a hard time getting out, and it was cold, and it created a lot of problems. But just to summarize, I just wanted to bring that up. If you have a chance, look at this website, this link that I posted in the chat. It's the Four Pillars Agreement. So your communities may have benefited or will be benefiting from that agreement. I think there's over 300 First Nations that are part of that. And second, if you could check out EcoSchool, it's a great.
Oh, did it me that just lost Perlene, or was it me that got the, can you still hear me, Pip?
I can hear you, yes.
Oh, you could, okay. You cut out for me for a second. I don't know if it was my internet or not, but, um, sorry, did you get to finish, a chance to finish up that last statement, or Perlene, did you have anything else?
Yes, I'm done.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to ask questions, they can ask me, but yeah, I'm done.
No, I appreciate that, Perlene, and you're right. We will be on that program map soon, and like all those things, I think it's kind of a really good example to share the beauty of that program map is like everything Perlene just shared would be accessible through a direct conversation with her. Yeah, so I like thank you for sharing those connection points. I think that's really important. Any other? This always happens, watching the time run away on us. But I do want to move into the second question, and I think it's really about how we move forward. Those obstacles are definitely a reality for us, but our goal really today was to um, discuss how this program map membership, and I would lean on folks like Pip, who has been part of it for a longer period of time, and then kind of inform some ways it served him, but also some ways that it could serve him better. But what we are trying to investigate here is, I guess, if we have a different or an inner level of membership within the YOLO community through our program map, what would best serve you? What would best serve that program map membership? What offerings and supports would you want? I want to preface that with kind of where we currently are at. And I'm going to end after this discussion with where we are hoping to go with some things. But where we're currently at, that those benefits have been around increased visibility about the work that you're doing, opportunities for collaboration and peer connection, kind of like that example that we just shared, that Perlene just shared, and those opportunities there. Increased awareness and understanding of that regional work, which I think, speaks for itself in terms of getting a little bite-sized piece of what Pip is doing in his neck of the woods or what Perlene is doing in her neck of the woods and like how that may apply to my work up in Churchill. Of course, a big one is an opportunity to continue to influence the shape of YOLO and this network and how it best serves the community as a whole. And one thing that we are going to be introducing, and it's going to be retroactive for folks who have been on the program map for a while, is some YOLO swag. We got really lucky to introduce some fun little outdoor gear that's going to support people. And it's just a really cool way to kind of build their identity. But folks will get a chance to have a little swag pack by being part of this. Going back to that question, though, how would a community of practice, a micro network within the YOLO community, what would best serve you in your respective work? Or what would serve you better for those who are already part of the network in a kind of a deeper sense? And I'll just kind of open that up. I won't call on anybody because it's a heavy question, but
Do you mind if I share my thoughts?
go for it.
Um, I think the reason I wanted to share is just because I've been operating for 4 years, but I do feel like I am new to all of this, especially incorporating, like, I want to take on childcare, and my plan was to homeschool, but it's kind of become something that I realized that I have this program and something that I could offer in this program. So that is why I'm developing myself to be able to offer that. And the way I would like to offer early learning and childcare is in outdoor land-based settings. So with the lack of resources here up north, I do have connections to Bush Kids in Yellowknife. I grew up with Chloe. But other than that, we don't have a lot of it going on. So it's kind of like something that's starting. So to just have these connections to help share ideas, resources, being able to see all the way up here, like kind of that isolation part. And I do live in an isolated community. So to be up here, kind of navigating that, it does, get a little bit, especially with our social issues with our school and our childcare and seeing the impacts on our community, it does get a little heavy on our hearts. So to have, this network and see what everyone else is doing and a little bit of like guidance and pieces to help me navigate this, give me some hope and inspire me. I think that's the biggest take that I could get from this. So I thank you for creating this.
Thanks, Jerry. I can hear your passion and your care in the way you share about the things that you're doing and what you want to do. So appreciate you kicking us off with that. Anyone else have some thoughts on how you would be best served in your practice, in your home community, or in the program that you're building? How a network or the program map membership could facilitate growth for you, support for you, capacity building for you, whatever that may or may not be.
I would like to add, I just think that it's really cool. I'm glad I stumbled across your Facebook page. I think that it's important because what we're seeing in our community is we're not having a lot of students participate because they're getting the choice from home. We have a bear camp up north that we take our grade 8 through 12 students to for 1 week for the female population, 1 week for the male. They go in, do moose hunting, trapping, etc. But what we're finding is that there isn't an expectation from home, like there once was, where you participated irregardless of whether you wanted to or not. And a lot of the kids are making their own choices now. So this map, I think, would be a great opportunity to show the kids in our schools that there's kids from right across this country that are out there learning this stuff that is very important. So I think that the interactive map will be great. I would love to see quite a few yellow or quite a few more red marks on the map from Saskatchewan because, like Curleen mentioned, many of our communities actively do this on a regular basis. It's just that we've never collaborated to put ourselves onto a map. So I think that it's a great tool for bringing that to people's attention. And yeah, I look forward to sharing this with our school community and our wellness department and all the other departments that not only take the kids out onto the land, but also some of our adults that have been lost in addiction and are reconnecting. Thank you.
Thanks, Teresa. Appreciate that. I think there's a lot of folks in education. I've always said the best PD is putting like-minded people in the same room and like beautiful things will happen. And so really appreciate your sentiments about what this space can do. Um, any other thoughts?
Maybe I'll jump in, Shay. Like it's just interesting listening to you, Teresa, like what you were just saying, and it makes me think like maybe there could be something in the future where it's like, like youth, there's like youth profiles on the map or something, or like youth ambassadors of like land-based learning or YOLO, like sharing about the importance of this stuff and being outside and learning about their territories and cultures.
I instantly thought, I mean, again, I think about the example that Pip and I shared earlier about like kids from different communities connecting up both like in person and kind of hopefully building some relationships between each other as well, and how that map could facilitate relationships for both adults who are doing this work, but the youth involved in it as well. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess the opportunities are limitless, but
Maybe create like a healthier style of like social interacting. I have a
mm,
13-year-old that we're navigating the iPhones and just that the unhealthy things that are out there that we don't want her a part of. But like something like this would be like an app that she could connect with people that for these reasons would be pretty sweet.
mhm. Healthy online access and relationship building. Love it. Yeah.
Yeah, we could have things like, like submit a photo from your like school camp or something like that youth would do. We even had that, like we had that kind of contest, photo contest, but it could be like for youth, and it could be like, as a teacher, you could like promote that when you're at your camp, and then yeah, it is limitless. It's true.
If I'm silent, it's just I want to give space for other people that want to speak up. But I'll give another few minutes or a few seconds of silence if anyone else wants to share. All right. So as we kind of near the end of this hour and appreciate, oh, go ahead, Pip. Sorry. You're
Got me to lunch.
chew first, don't choke.
One thing we're working on, it's gonna take a while, but if other communities from YOLO want to do it, was a virtual tour of their camp. So trying to figure out how that's gonna go, but it's basically for the community to access the stuff we're doing here, but kind of it's a walkthrough. And if anybody has the time, do the same thing with whatever camp or land-based stuff they're doing.
Yeah, that's really cool. Like that's one of the biggest things that I've run across in a number of spaces is like how to build up a land-based camp, right? And like seeing how people do it, the types of like it's not just throw up a cabin and throw up a fire pit and you're done, right? Like there's some real thought that goes into those spaces, obviously. Um, that's a cool idea. I can't wait for the virtual tour, Pip. Actually, I need the real in-person tour first. So okay, so I wanted to finish off and like we ended the hour respecting people's time, but this doesn't mean the end of the conversation. So I've got two more slides I want to run through, and then I'll leave a few more minutes if any other questions pop up. Kind of some of the future direction that we're hoping to go with this group. And again, just to reiterate, like we have the broader YOLO network, which is around 400 folks. But what we're trying to create in here is not a tiered system, not a paid membership, not a like, but like a kind of a deeper membership of folks who want to go a bit, yeah, more complex into this work, build some more deep relationships with folks in the network. And so what we've had, and these are not all set in stone, but we've had some conversations around how we can best serve that micro group within the network. That has included offering micro credentials, kind of taking these virtual spaces and offering kind of training courses that would support how to build a land-based camp or how to engage youth that are disengaged through various means. Just to pull a few examples from our conversations. Another one that is definitely on our radar, and we're hoping to offer this again as to our program map members is an in-person gathering space next year. So Perlene brought up that we had our first in-person gathering where it was our advisory team that came together in Yellowknife about a month and a half ago, and that was kind of our first kick at the can of bringing people in YOLO together in person. And we hope to expand that and really frame the next in-person gathering around supporting, again, folks who are doing this boots on the ground work, impacting youth, and looking for these shared spaces for collaboration and learning. We're also looking into avenues around research, both accessing research to understand that land-based environment and everything that everyone is doing across different territories, but also an opportunity to participate in that type of research as well. And another one around creating connection points, kind of one-to-one or program-to-program exchanges. Again, this is an opportunity for folks to potentially, like for Pip to go see Sonlene Gid in Haida Gwaii and learn everything about what they do up in Haida Gwaii and vice versa for Sonlene Gid to come to northern Manitoba and experience that cold temperature of the north. So an opportunity really to share best practices, but facilitate some in-person learning. Virtual is great. In-person has definite benefits that virtual can never fully achieve. So just a few ideas that we've been playing around with that. That's not a finite list and that's not a definite list either. But just so you're aware of some things that might be coming on the horizon by being part of this program map membership. So kind of how to get involved or just stay informed. Joining the program map is probably the best way. We are going to slowly start building up specific literature and communication for our program map membership. If you would like to submit to be part of the program map, that can be done through the website. There's just a click button that takes you to a Google form. But of course, if you're still interested in just sitting back and learning a bit more before you take the deep dive, you can stay connected through the VLCs like this one or the newsletter that goes out monthly. You can share stories and learnings through our Stories from the Land series, and you can learn more about that through our newsletter as well. And of course, you can use that email, youthontheland@gmail.com, to share feedback directly about how this network can best serve you. That's always been the heart of this work, is we take our pulse from the people doing the work in community. And so hearing directly, whether it's individual or as a whole group like we are today, about how we can best move forward. So just some examples of ways you can get connected. All of this information, if you remember one link, this youthontheland.ca will take you to all of this information, access to sign up for the newsletter, the email, to add yourself to the program map, and many other things that you can explore through that website. So on that note, that's everything I had to share. And again, it's not the end of the conversation. If you want to follow up with email or have a one-on-one conversation with any of us, that's Zara or Sanlana Gid or myself, who are part of the coordination team, please reach out. But were there any questions that anybody had? Okay, well, seeing none, and I don't see any in the chat. I'm gonna check one more time. I appreciate everyone for taking the hour today. It's great to see some familiar faces, great to see some new faces as well, and from all across different regions. But enjoy the rest of your week. Hopefully, you're getting some seasonally correct temperatures. I don't know if that means hot or cold for anybody, but seasonally correct temperatures is what I'm hoping for everybody. And keep an eye out on the newsletter for the next time that we do this. We will have another virtual learning circle on the fourth Tuesday of June, topic to be determined. But stay tuned to the newsletter and that'll be shared. So have a great rest of your week and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.